everybody. I thought it'd be a good idea to actually cover a video on some of my favourite pocket knives. So these are obviously folding small knives that you can keep in pockets. And before I go any further in this video, I will say that due to how the UK laws work regarding pocket knives, the legality of carrying these might be a bit iffy on some of them. So I'll try and, as I show each knife, go through all the rules on each said knife. Now first let's go through the one that you can't legally EDC on you outside your house unless you have a justifiable excuse. And this is the Enlan EL-01, and it is a folding lock knife with a line lock on there. So basically it's only about just over a 4-inch blade. It looks quite big because it's fairly chunky, but the blade's not actually massive. It's got a nice finger indent there for holding it well. You can keep your thumb on this side of it, so you can get a very good grip on this. I like it because it's got the pocket clip there, although that could be a little bit tighter in my opinion than pocket clip, but that's just a minor gripe. But the opening action is very smooth after you've had it for a while. So you've got this flicker here. The flicker doesn't get the blade all the way out, but then it doesn't require much hand movement to get the blade fully out. So obviously you can get the blade open fairly quickly. When I'm around the house I keep this blade on me at all times, not as a weapon, just simply because it's very useful having a practical knife on you, which you can just unfold if you need to open a packet or something, cut some string, whatever else. The amount of times, you know, when you don't have a knife on you and you have to go look for scissors or something, it's ridiculous. So having one of these on your pocket when you're inside the house, and it's perfectly legal to carry in the UK, very good. Just obviously be aware that if you are to take it outside of the house, if you don't have a justifiable excuse for carrying it, you could get in serious trouble. And that's one of the things I don't like with the UK knife laws. I think I've mentioned this quite a lot before, but the issue is the laws here aren't black and white, as in you can legally carry this, you can't carry this kind of thing. It's often, if a policeman catches you with it, will they charge you, or will they say that's okay, don't do it again kind of thing. And that's why I don't like the laws, because a lot of it is down to police discretion, not this is either black or white, legal or not, you know, illegal. So sometimes you don't really know where you stand with the law, which I think is very bad for a legal system in general. But anyway, the Enlan EL-01, very good little folding lock knife for having in your pocket if you're around the house or somewhere where you're allowed to carry it. So that's good. Right, the next one I've got is the Promithi, and this is just called something like the UK legal folding knife. So it's a UK legal knife because the blade's under 3 inches, I think this one's like 2.9 or 2.8 inches, and it doesn't lock, so basically enough force and it will close. And so these are like the mechanism Swiss Army knives use. The reason I like this more than the Swiss Army knife for using as a knife is, again, you've got a finger indent there, so you can hold it again like the other knife very well. But you've got, you know, in general a very good sort of little pocket knife here. The blade's a bit bigger as well, which means it is more practical for cutting things, I find. Good point on it as well. So this is good if you're opening packets or something, again, like I use it on hay and straw a lot. You can push it into the plastic bag and then cut along. Very easy to get a clean cut doing that to open a packet. So you can normally get these on Amazon for well under £10, very worth, I'd say, getting for that. I think this is only like £2 or £3 I paid for this, but yeah, these are very good. One thing I will say is brilliant on this is the pocket clip is very sort of tight. I don't know if I'm going to be able to show this in frame very well, but the great thing about the pocket clip is, no, it's not going to, that's a bit too thick to put on with that. But in some trousers, if you want to keep it in a certain pair of trousers, you have it like pinned into the pocket with the clip there, it means that even if you fold the trousers up or something and put them away, it's not going to fall out vertically like that. A lot of them, like I was saying with that Enlan knife, is that if you have it upside down when you fold some trousers up, often they'll fall out. I suppose that's kind of good if you don't want to accidentally wash the trousers with a knife in the washing machine, but it's not so great if you don't want to lose a knife and you're doing something with the trousers and they, you know, fall out. So it's a lot better for just being able to keep in the pocket and forget about it, and being a UK legal knife, that's quite good. So let's move on to the next lot. Okay, so here we have a Ganzo multi-tool. Now normally you'd attach that to your belt. I'm not wearing trousers with a belt on today, so can't really do it on my belt. But you get in the pouch the different sort of screwdriver attachments for it, multi-tool attachments, and you get these. I'm sure you're all aware of how a multi-tool works, but it's basically a pair of pliers with all the different things in the sides. So I'm including it in a knife video because there is a fairly decent little blade in here. You've got your serrated one in there as well, and when I can find it, there you go, you have got your actual sort of Swiss Army knife style blade. Now the mechanism is fairly tough on this, which I like, because as I was saying, the thing is with UK legal ones, the issue being that obviously while you can legally sort of have them because they're a non-locking blade, you can find the degree to which the blades kind of snap open and snap close varies, and I like the ones with quite a strong spring keeping them open, so although they're not technically locking, they're less likely to close on your fingers. Ordinarily, of course, a blade like this shouldn't ever close on your fingers if you're cutting with it the right way, because if you're cutting that way the blade can't close, it can only close if you're using it the wrong way. But when you're using something like this for a utility use, you'd be surprised just how easy it is to try and, you know, lever something with a blade or something and have it snap closed. The good thing about these as well is you can hold them in a way like this where your fingers are always out the way of the closing mechanism, unlike some other pocket knives. Of course, as I was saying, these are also useful because they do act as pliers as well. I've made good use of these, having them for plier use, using the wire cutters on them as well. There's lots of really good uses for little pocket pliers like these, and again, totally UK legal. Nearly dropped them. Totally UK legal, unless of course you maybe encounter a copper having a bad day. As I was saying, that's what I don't like about the laws here, but the law says you can carry this, but whether or not a policeman wants to give you trouble for carrying it is another question. Alright, two more knives. Obviously one you'll be very familiar with, a Swiss Army knife. This one is the hiker model, I believe, but it's got a couple of blade attachments on here, the smaller blade and the bigger blade. I actually sometimes use a smaller blade more because for whatever reason I find this one is easier to sharpen and stays sharper, the smaller blade. But regardless, both of the blades are good. I also like the Swiss Army knife because I've got a bottle opener and flathead screwdriver there, and I've got the Phillips screwdriver there, both of which I make quite frequent use of if I have this in my pocket. But yeah, getting a Swiss Army knife on that has the attachments you want is really good. As I said, it depends what you want, a multi-tool or a Swiss Army knife. Better thing about a Swiss Army knife is very compact if you get one of the more basic models, which I prefer with Swiss Army knives, to be honest, not the ones that are like that thick. Get all the attachments you want and you can keep it in the pocket very easily. But obviously the advantage of a multi-tool is they tend to be a bit firmer built. You can hold them a bit more easily with all the different attachments because, you know, that's what they're designed to do. So if you want something that's compact, get a Swiss Army knife with the basic tools on. If you want something bigger, I'd say ignore the bigger, bulkier Swiss Army knives and go for an actual multi-tool. And the last blade to show you is one I've actually found again, because last time I did a knife video I couldn't find this and my bigger one. It is an Opinel, and this one's a carbon steel one, and it's a legal carry one. So if you're not familiar with Opinels, they're basically French peasant knives, they're called. And all of them are kind of this simple wooden handle where you unfold the blade, and then you've got a very good knife for the price. These are no-nonsense basic little knives. However, they tend to come very sharp, and obviously they're quite easy to sharpen yourself as well. Very, very practical if you want a little folding pocket knife. This one is the UK legal one because it has the collar that doesn't lock. You can also get Opinels, while very practical, sadly they break UK law for carrying, because you can lock it so you can't accidentally cut your finger. That makes it illegal regardless of blade length, like I was saying about my bigger lock knife. Now up to you what you get. You can get both the UK legal non-locking ones that are under 3 inches in both stainless steel and carbon. This is carbon, but as you can see the blade is a bit sort of dirty there, and I've tried cleaning that and it doesn't come off. That's one of the problems with carbon steel. It's much better steel for cutting and keeping sharp than stainless. The issue is that it's much easier to kind of tarnish the steel. And yes, you can frequently clean it, but sometimes it's a bit impractical with a pocket knife keeping it perfectly clean, because you are obviously wanting the knife to do dirty things with it sometimes. Not dirty in that way. But yeah, this Opinel one I really like. As I said, I really like the compact designs. Opinel knives, in my opinion, don't look threatening at all, because it is literally, a very basic, as you'd say, peasant's knife. Mechanism works very well. And if you wanted one not necessarily for carrying out around with you, but just to do something UK legal, well, I'm not saying not UK legal with, but just for whatever uses you might have for a pocket knife, then you can get Opinels in whatever size you want with the locking collars. I'll just show you one of those now so you can see what the design's like. But obviously, as I said, they're not the UK legal type for carrying, but if you wanted one for around the house, I'll show you what they're sort of like. Okay, so here's a bigger Opinel. Now, with the bigger Opinels, as I was saying, these aren't legal to carry with you in the UK, but they are quite a competent design. Now what they have is a special locking collar, so you can have it in this position when you've got the blade in a pocket, and it can't open very far, because the collar stops the blade opening on the hinge, which is quite good. If you don't want the blade to accidentally open, you can have it like that. Then what you simply do is rotate the collar to the open position. Then you can have the blade out and open. This is a fairly big Opinel. So you can use it like a Swiss Army knife where it doesn't lock, simply by having a blade in that position. But then what you can do is you can rotate the collar again, rotate it to this position, and now the blade is locked open. Now this is a really simple lock mechanism, and as I said, the lovely thing of Opinels is just simply how cheap they are. But sadly, due to UK laws, even if you had one of these that's under 3 inches with that locking collar, it's illegal to carry, despite the fact, you know, a blade under 3 inches wouldn't be ideal for stabbing somebody anyway, and if you're a criminal you're going to carry a blade on you that can be whatever size you want because you're not following the law. However, if you want a blade that you're not going to cut yourself with for utility reasons, even if it was a tiny blade, having a locking collar on this makes it verboten because of the state of the laws in this country where they treat people like children. But there you go, as I said, big Opinels. This is kind of a ridiculously sized one. I just bought it on Amazon a while ago because when I got this it was only like £6 or something, and it is the steel is very good on Opinels. This is a stainless one compared to that other carbon one I've got, so it's good at, you know, keeping the blade nice and clean. Doesn't need much maintenance. It's lovely because you can lock it closed and lock it open just by twisting the collar, and they don't cost much. So again, if you want to put it away, you just simply move the collar to a position where the blade can freely move. You put it away, then you turn the collar again, the blade is locked. Now, as I said, this one's fairly big, it wouldn't sit in a pocket all that well, but you can get them in literally any size. I think these come from anywhere between like 2 inches and 10 inches or something. Which I think this is the 12-inch one, yeah, EFF 12. But yeah, so you can get Opinels from literally tiny knives to big knives, all with that same locking collar design. So Opinels are definitely worth looking out for if there's a particular size blade you want and you just want something simple that works. Obviously stainless steel ones are a bit cheaper, carbon steel ones cost a bit more, and then you have to weigh up the sort of maintenance of how much you want to do on it. But there, yeah, that's my pocket knife sort of video of different knives I like to carry on me. As I said, the ones that aren't UK legal to carry with me I wouldn't normally be carrying on me if I'm outside the house. Or the ones that are UK legal to carry I carry quite frequently in one form or another, whether it be the multi-tool or a Swiss Army knife or one of the other blades, simply because obviously when you get in the habit of carrying a knife with you, you can find all sorts of really practical things to do with it where normally you'd be a bit stuck. It's a bit like, you know, carrying a pen with you as an EDC item. I need to get better at the habit of doing that. A lot of people like me don't EDC a pen on them, and then they have to keep asking other people for a pen when you want to write something down. You realise you've got nothing to write it with, which is a bit inconvenient and embarrassing. So yeah, knives are a great thing to EDC as long as you follow the law and everything else as said, and I hope you've enjoyed the video if you're interested in the sort of knives I like to EDC.